Good morning, sweethearts. How y'all doing? Happy Saturday. I'm gonna start calling this the magic. The magic report. Are you feeling the magic? There's a lot of magic in the air. There's a lot of intensity in the air. How's the roller coaster ride going? I've been the side of people that people don't see about me is I spend a great amount of time in a very solitude. How you doing, Daniel? Space. And even when I'm around people, good morning, Ria. And I spend a greater deal amount of time in observation. And the human side of this, for all of us, if you will, is right now you got, for those that are on the awakening journey, you have literally all of your timelines coming into one right now. And if you thought you're going through these spaces where you thought you were crazy before, and now you're feeling like you're losing it in some aspects. And then you got the other aspects where the human really at times is in resistance of what is going on, and it's frustrating, and it's this and it's that. And right now you're literally taking all 144 of your different personality aspects, you've brought them into a diamond, and now you're just polishing it up, dancing together. And how do you apply that to daily life? And that's what I'm getting a lot from a lot of people. How you doing, Ishta? Big hugs and blessings, sweetheart. Good evening for you, I guess it is. And as these changes go on, and that's really what this is, it may seem frustrated, it may seem intense right now. It may seem like everything is falling apart, and it may appear that the chaos and everything is getting worse. But really, if you step back, sweethearts, look how many times in different aspects, in different ways, different situations, experiences, that we've gone through something that is just as seemingly challenging as this is, or something even stronger that you have gotten through. And that's the magic of these energies. Everything, especially what is going on right now, it's a series of great opportunities disguised as impossible situations. And what's Rhea saying here? Remember, fear is just an absence of love, but there is only love, so there can never be an absence of it. Absolutely. And so, know you're not going crazy. Know that Armageddon has been rectified, if for lack of a better way of saying it. And really, the changes that we're going through and the energies that are incoming, today's going to be influenced with a whole lot of conflicting energies, but a whole lot of energies that are going to try and bathe it. And this is where not only is the ego giving up in a very resisted surrender, and that control is being let go of, but you're in the middle of crossing over from a duality mindset to a contrast mindset. And so you got all of these lenses coming in as one lens, if you will. And as you integrate this. And that is the challenging part in this, is the integration. Because, you know, we all talk about balance. We all talk about balance. You got to be balanced, this and that. But when the human aspect thinks of balance, it only thinks of balance of like two things. And right now you're trying to balance, if you will, 144 aspects of yourself, 144 dimensions, 144 timelines. You're trying to balance, integrate those all into balance, into something that the physical vessel in no way can maintain. All of those light encoded filaments, all of those bits of information. And with that, with this integration, with the anchoring of the light bodies, comes all of these light encoded information, filaments full of information. Just like when you buy I'll have to use a computer. It's the only thing that's popping in. An electronic device. Take your phone, for example. If you buy one of those smartphones are far smarter than you until you play with it and you master it, right? Well, that's what this dance, this roller coaster is going on. And that is where the being gentle with yourself comes in. That's where taking the time to really be present and still with yourself comes in and helps you through it. Victor says, I would say how to deal with it is one day at a time. Take control of your mind and flow through it. Awareness is the first process. The next steps are heavy in vibration because we are transitioning into new energy. Love, embrace it, own it. Exactly. And by the same token, it's easy for those of us that know how to deal with it to say that. And I'm running into that. That's the only reason I say that. You know, the part that you guys don't see of myself is in my every moment life, when I'm not on a video, when I'm not on a video call, if I'm not in a guidance session, I am not around very many people. I bring many people into my home, invite them here for a healing. And most people have a really hard time around my energy. You know, and I seem to bring up that dark energy in a lot of people. Because I'm a teller of unpopular truths, and I'm at a space where I'm very gentle, but I'm very open and truthful. And I don't mask that. And when people come into my presence and they're not used to me, they're not used to my energy, it becomes overwhelming. And that is what, for them, and you know, one of the aspects that and I'm bringing this up because one of the aspects that we're dealing with within ourselves is that masculine aspect of the resistance, of the control of the human is used to. And that's the part that's being let go of. At the same time, again, everything is that contrast, that polarity, that trinity within a trinity within a trinity. At the same time that the feminine aspect is learning how to tame her power in the most efficient way, if you will. And that ties directly into the energies that are coming in. earlier in the week, we had the sun directly in opposition of Saturn, the Lord of Karma. It was a very intense middle of the week. That's what we're coming out of now. Yesterday was more graceful. Today, the magic is going to be in the sense that of potential conflict, in the sense that today is a very stepping into your power, claiming your power sort of energy day. So, and when I say conflict energy, potentially conflict energy, this is where the ego really is in a really great space of surrender. But at the same time, it's that standing on the edge of the cliff, knowing that once you jump, that you got wings, even though you can't see them. But yet, that absolute fear of, do I want to? Do I want to take that risk? You know, that last intense doubt, if you will. That's the energy right here today. And so, it's going to play out in the sense of those around you, you know, especially this is going to be a stick your chest out kind of day. I'm right, and the other person's right, but their idea is better, and so it's going to be back and forth like that. And as that plays out in your individual lives, that's where you really find yourself in a great opportunity to stay in that balance as you shine up your diamond, if you will. Because really that's what it is. The veils have been removed, the lenses are open, and now you're just shining them and bringing in the glimmering pieces of all of it together as one. Rhonda, I have learned so much about myself since I met you. I have let go of so much. I feel free. Well, thank you, Rhonda. You know, and that's what if I can help one person, you know, I can put a smile on one person's heart. For me, that's what makes me happy. And that's really, really, again, tied into these energies that we're going through. This roller coaster ride is, you know, we get into a space where we're constantly assisting others, constantly helping others on our journeys. And right now, these energies really, again, many of us are being told, stop helping people by our teams, by our guides. Focus on what makes you happy. Find out and start following that. And I know you do, Rhonda. I love you, beautiful. Thank you. It means the world to me, Rhonda. It really does. It touches me in a way you have no idea. It makes my life of solitude worth it. It does. More than you know. And so as we go through these changes, this transition, you're not crazy. You're bringing in timelines and dimensions and all of it into the moment of now. And you're seeing things out of the corners of your eyes. You're having more intense lucid dreaming, but not dreaming. And things are becoming more enhanced. And there's moments that you feel, especially right now, a deep underlying depression. And 1 second you're a basket case, the next you're blissful, the next you're angry, the next and I mean, it's a roller coaster ride right now, and that's because you're integrating. And for those that don't know what's going on, and there's a lot of them that don't know what's going on, there's a lot of aspects of self out there, 7 billion, that have chosen not to know what's going on right now, that have chosen through their soul's journey to not awaken. And as much as we know what's going on, that fear is ever present in those that have no clue what's going on by choice. And so, right now within yourself, again, you're letting go of the humanness. You're in a transition of releasing the fleshy world of duality for a world of contrast and beauty and magic. And as the physical material world, as the human has known it to be, shows the polarity, the contrast, and the duality in one aspect of yourself, another aspect is showing you magic, is showing you bliss. And it's causing a lot of confusion within the vessel. And it's causing a lot of, this is not only in those of us that have awakened or are awakening, this is in humanity, in the collective, if you will. Because right now you're in the process of detaching, if you will, from the collective, the old collective. And that's where some of this is bringing in a lot of confusion. And because now you're finding yourself in a space of, you have compassion for what people are going through, but it's from a distance. And you are finding yourself in instances where you're not, because you feel compassion, but you can't be emotional for what they're going through. And so to those people, they're looking at you and you're cold-hearted, but you know what's going on. And then in the next instance, this. In the next instance, this. And so it's a back and forth. And it's a back and forth going all the way around a diamond. Victor, yes, true. Cocoon into a butterfly life shows us this in nature all around. Absolutely. And it's beautiful right now, even though that contrast shows otherwise to the physical. And it's really an integration of not only all of your aspects around the diamond, but you got the past and the future and the now, you got the above and the below, and then in the present and the physical. And it's, you're balancing your Metatron's cube. You're balancing your flower of life. You're bringing your flower of life to life, if you will, in wholeness, in fullness. Not just a couple rosebuds here, or just a rosebud, that opens a little bit and then closes, and then, now you're opening it for eternal life. You're opening it up to immortality. You're opening it, it's being opened to fully stay open for infinity right now, and that's the process of this. And it's not an instantaneous thing. And until we fully integrate it, and fully anchor it. Good morning, Tana. How you doing, beautiful? Good morning, Mickey. And until, we're in the process of anchoring it. And until that occurs, rather than just the pendulum, before it was the pendulum going this way, back and forth, and you had to bring it into balance this way. Well, now you got a pendulum going this way, you got a pendulum going this way, you got a pendulum going this way, you got the pendulum going this way, and on and on and on and on and on. 144 pendulums going on, if you will. And so, as much as you're detaching from the fleshy aspect of this, if you will, the releasing the egoic mind and coming into a heart-brain center rather than a mind-heart base. There is a difference between the mind and the brain. And it is a process. And right now, it seems like to the human aspect that you're going crazier, because you're only used to this pendulum. You're only used to one or two pendulums going at a time throughout your journey, and now, again, it's the end of the journey of the way life has been to a new chapter, a new story, a new beginning, a new everything, and as you bring in those aspects, those faucets, as you wipe clear the new lens that has been opened, and as you integrate it, the material world as you know it, you observe it, but it just keeps getting more distant and distant from you, if you will. But yet, it's still right here in the present in a different way. If that makes sense. I'm not sure how else to explain it, but you're integrating the above and below. You're integrating, side by side. You're integrating every which way but loose. You've been loose, and now you're coming into all those loose fragments are coming into one. You're no longer missing a piece of your puzzle, of the bigger puzzle. You're no longer missing a rose petal. You've climbed through the rose garden up through the thorns, and now you get to step into the fullness of the bud. You get to feel the fragrance of the rose petals. You get to feel the silkiness of the rose petals, and the fragrance of the flower, and you get to feel that radiance and that bliss, and you're coming into a space through this integration that 3D world is becoming more distant to you. You have no desire to participate in those experiences anymore. And at the same time you're feeling that bliss, you're still feeling that polarity, that duality aspect that's being left behind. And the more you allow yourself to integrate, the more you allow yourself to really go through this introspection and take this time to quiet the mind, quiet the control, that resistance, to really control the flow of the lava, if you will, because it's already erupted. The tower's crumbled. And the difference for some is the tower, when it crumbled, literally fell down and crumbled. But those of you who have been on the journey, that have disciplined themselves into the inner work and doing that inner work, and the towers don't crumble like that anymore. It's almost like you're watching in slow motion the tower crumble, rather than it just and it done and your world is crashed. Now it's in slow motion, and you're able to, as it's crumbling, build a new one at the same time, whereas before it would just crumble and now you're, what do I do now? And so that's the beauty of the magic of the energies. That's the beauty of what is happening right now. And whereas before all the inner work was, it was a journey of healing yourself and your whole world falling down and crumbling and everything else. This is in the way the same way, but by the same token, this is where it's like it's in slower motion, at the same time it's in a faster motion. You're leaving a space of time, material, tangible time, dimensional frequencies, into a space of all time in time, if that makes sense. Douglas, we're evolving at a great rate because we are sharing this experience with others, as well as being honest with ourselves in a way that has never happened before in human history. We need to continue sharing just as you are. Linda, thanks again for sharing so generously of yourself. Well, thank you, Douglas. Thank you. And you know, straight ones, really that's what it is communication is the greatest tool in relationships that you can have. But it's also the greatest tool of destruction and chaos. Before, humanity has been in a space of what happens behind closed doors stays behind closed doors. Humanity has been raised and taught that you have to keep secrets. Humanity has been enslaved and taught and brought up to believe that you cannot trust anybody. Do not share your thoughts. Do not share your experiences. Do not expose yourself. Yada, yada, yada. Don't put your dirty laundry on Facebook. There you go. That's a good one. And that's the thing there. Do you see that shame, that's the energy of shame in that statement alone? Don't put your dirty laundry on Facebook. And I used that in my video the other day, and boy, I got chastised by some people saying I was being judgmental, and I really wasn't. Those were words that the gals who had asked me for guidance earlier had used themselves. But do you see the shame that we have been enslaved in for so long? And so, as Douglas says, we're evolving at a greater rate because we're sharing. And we are, because by the more you can communicate, the more you can talk about your feelings in a very neutral, calm, peaceful state. I'm not talking about, bringing up issues that are hot under the collar and trying to talk from an angry position. That just don't work. That just don't work. But to really talk about the symptoms and what you're going through and the memories that are coming up or what you're not understanding, the best thing you can do is go within. Yes, to breathe, to go within, to get out of your mind. But sharing the experiences, as fearful as some of them have been on this journey, and I do say fearful, because I would be lying straight up if I sat there and said I never had one fearful experience on this journey. Because I'm telling you what, the human aspect of me has put into a whole lot of spaces of fear. Straight up. And, again, fear is just a space of absence of love. And once we face it, it's never as bad as we thought it would be once we stepped through it. And but when you do, the journey is very liberating, and many are finding themselves in a space right now there where, as that 3D world falls away, if you will, or becomes more distant, and it morphs, if you will, into a more graceful, gentle, and if you observe it, you can really see the magic, sweet ones. You really can. Linda, can you send the real angels on my way, please? Hey, beautiful. They're already with you. Close your eyes and breathe and ask them to connect with you. Observe your body as you ask for your angels to surround you. To pay attention to your body. Do you feel a warmth? Do you feel a tingling? Observe yourself, sweetheart. And once you feel that, talk to them, communicate them, thank them for their presence. Let them know that you do feel them. And you can always call upon them, sweetheart, and feel into that. You're never alone. And I'm not sure what you mean by real angels, honey, but your angels are with you. You're never alone, beautiful. Tabby, humanity is being taught by those in control so we don't share our experiences and find out that we were not alone this whole time. It was a way to hush us to see. And it was. And that's okay. Because you know what? And that, too, is a space where we're out on these energies. It's okay. We signed up for this experience. It's really easy to sit here on the spiritual journey for all of us. I myself have done it. And it's really easy to sit here and be mad at the government. Be mad at they enslaved us. They manipulated us. They mind controlled us. Yes, they did. But you're getting mad at the wrong people. And that's something that we come to understand on this journey. It does no good to complain because we signed up for this dance whether we want to accept it or not. We knew before we ever started this experiment. And that's all it is. Every dimension is like a new, every dimensional grid, if you will, is like a new experiment. And we signed up for it before we ever incarnated it into this grid. Not just this lifetime or the past lifetimes of this ascension cycle. But, this Earth is roughly 4 billion years old. Some of us have been here since it began. I've said many times, I've remembered 3.5+ billion years in lifetimes. And I can remember every one of them. And, well, I could. Now, the memories are going away because I've zero-pointed them, But when you can, you come to a space where it doesn't matter anymore, though. And that's where you're at right now. It seems like it matters, but it really doesn't matter. And that's where you really have to just allow yourself to flow and not get attached to, the whole thing of this is you really are detaching from the material, tangible world. Yes, you're going to have an experience in form, and you're still going to, you're coming into a space of being a new human, if you will. And one that can morph into flesh, and one that really, the flesh is no longer the form. The light body is the form. And the light body is all information. And it's all information from all. The all of all. And the human flesh body, if you will, is the part that's going. And the more light you intake, the more the flesh aspect of life, help me out here, Michael, please, thank you, is going to transform into transparency. And that's where the magic of these is really coming in, because you're controlling the morphine. And through your inner work, you're controlling the morphine. Through your inner work, you're controlling the integration. You're controlling the anchoring. Or not controlling. It works both ways. And so, oh, hi, I'm glad I don't have to remember past lives. You'll remember what you need to remember, you know? And at this point, we're neutralizing the past. So why, you know, we're getting ready to morph fully into a space of allness and newness. So, you know, all of the old is being let go. That's the past lives. That's the memories. That's... You're clearing out your cellular memory DNA for a purpose. So you don't have those memories anymore. You're wiping those memories clean. You want new. And the more that comes up in this morphing that's taking place and the separation of the worlds, you know, you got a separation, but you got a union, you know. Everything is a contrast in the new versus a duality in a polarity, if you will. It's a polarized contrast. It's not polarity and duality anymore. Exactly where I am at, nothing matters but deep peace. Been working on my and others' light bodies and the nervous system, and most are frazzled. Absolutely. And you know, we've spoke of that, Michelle, many, many times. At least I know of many of us who have. I've written on it too, quite a bit, the past couple of years. The nervous systems in the vessels are being upgraded. Those, again, you know, these light-encoded filaments hold an awful lot of information. And the physical vessel, the physical flesh vessel, cannot maintain them. And that's why it's so important to do the inner work. That is why it is so necessary to release the ego, the control, the manipulation, the disguises, the masks, the self-deceptions right now, and to release them, because the more you release of that, the mind programming, and operate more through your heart brain, it's more balanced and more graceful going through these. As this nervous system, those who these light encoded filaments contain so much information and are so powerful, it is short-circuiting people. Those are the ones you see spiraling. Those who are not doing the inner work. Those who have chosen not to awaken. Those are the ones that are short-circuiting. The nervous system cannot handle it, and that's the necessity of this, of doing the inner work, of maintaining that frequency within, and by the same time being vulnerable and open to accept all, to merge and join with all, unify with all, but yet honor you first. As you're integrating, share your experience, and yes, this is what I'm going through, yes, this is what I'm feeling, you know, because this is where you're really observing and coming into the observance and the understanding and the knowing and the visible witnessing, if you will, of just how you're not alone. That there is a whole lot of other people out there, if not all. Some won't admit it, and that's alright. But all, literally, in one way or another, are feeling exactly how you are. Now, for as many of us that feel up here in bliss, there is just as many down here that are feeling in desperation. And if this side of the world is in the southern hemisphere and the other side of the world's in the northern equinox, everything is being brought to here. And in every way, it's being brought back to the center point. And that center point is God. All paths now are coming into one point. Instead of these paths leading down to this one and then this one came to the center point. We are, in every way right now, all aspects, all paths, there's no more obstacles. It's on a straight course to this point right here. And that's the beauty. That's the magic. And that is where you're really going to find, as we go closer to the end of this month, closer to the equinox, and even beyond it. But really, the intensity is going to, this is our freedom ride. By the end of the month, things will still be tense and whatever, but it's going to be a heck of a lot more blissful, magical, vibrant, glorified. Glorified in a good way. For those of us who have been seeing it for a long time, now all of humanity is going to start seeing it and start feeling it. And that's where you're really this is really bringing in those unity energies. That's like my video yesterday where I was saying right now you're back and forth between the frustration of 1 second you're blissful, but your experiences haven't caught up to that blissfulness yet. Those are easing through this. That's what you're releasing this week. That's the intensity of this week. And that's the purpose, the divine purpose of why the Sun conjuncted Saturn the middle of this week. Everything is divinely planned. The universe chooses that which has already been chosen. And so now we're going through the space of the crossing into being chosen, into that chosen period of the chosen ones and the kingdom of heaven. And liking it like this, it's called the stairway to heaven for a purpose. Because think about it. If you really be honest with ourselves, had we just been handed the kingdom of heaven, we would have destroyed it. The feelings of unworthiness alone, we would have created a new chaos, a new abyss. We had to heal ourselves. We had to remember we're worthy of it. We had to remember who and what we were. And we had to remember that we deserved it. But that we also, energy out is energy back. Life is an echo. So if we deserve the heavenly kingdom, we also deserved the hell we created. And if you can take the judgment of all of it away, it's contrast. It's no longer heaven and hell. It's the magic and the beauty of contrast, of the experiences that have brought us to the point of all that we are. And it has brought us the knowledge to where we can apply the wisdom that we gained from it. And that is the magic. That is the beauty. So let that be the magic of the day, because it's bringing you one step closer of the manifestation into the physical plane. I love you, sweethearts. You're not alone in what you're feeling. I guess that was really the purpose of this. You know, even though you find yourselves not wanting to be around people because you feel all the emotions and the energies, you're feeling everything all at once now. The future, the past, and everything else. So, as much as you want to be an introvert, there's a part of you that wants to be an extrovert in unity. And just dance. Just dance through these. And you'll feel the magic. It's all okay. Allow yourself to move through these, and allow yourselves to move from duality and polarity into the miracle and the magic and the bliss of the lens of contrast instead. Allow yourselves to see the prism rather than the black and white. And that's where you find the magic. And Jupiter, planet of benevolence, just got upgraded again. I certainly have remembered in the last month or so. Thank you. Indeed, and you know what? The best part of it is Mercury is coming out of her shadow. Is it the shadow after the retrograde? That shadow period, and that's through this. You know, I think that's in a couple days. I don't know what day it is. I just know it's coming out. Mercury is coming out of the post shadow. That's what I was trying to think of. That is going to really be beautiful, even more so. So have a magical day, sweethearts. No, you're not alone. You're not going crazy. You know, even though right now, at moments, it seems like you are. You're not. You're releasing one world as you anchor in another. And you're just saying goodbye. It's like liking it like this. Liking it, you're moving out of the house for the first time from your parents. And you're going to explore the world. And you are exhilarated and you're excited. But yet at the same time, you have an exhilarated, exalted fear of leaving behind that which is comfortable and familiar. You're in a space whereas before you didn't feel necessarily safe or secure or comfortable enough to take a risk or to risk yourself or to take that risk to follow your passion or to risk your heart. And right now, you've stepped into a space that the exhilaration and the excitement is now overriding the risk of the fear of risk. And that really is the battle that you're going through. And it's okay. It's okay. Because that exhilaration and excitement really will tame that fear. So, allow your shells to jump. Know that even though you may not see them, holding your hand right next to you, we're all right there with you, jumping. So let us leap. Let us quantum leap again. Let's jump this Earth ship up another octave or two. Or 3 or 4. I love you, sweethearts. Hand in hand, we're together in this. We're all going through it. Have a great day. Good morning, Patricia. Big hugs and blessings. I love you, sweethearts. Have a great day. Bye-bye now.